Mini episode 850 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by Sportsology, delivering unconventional columns and webcasts about sports, TV, music, movies, and more. Follow them on the web at sportsology.com.
The FDH Lounge. You want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Welcome to FDH Lounge mini episode number 850. I'm FDH managing partner Rick Morris here with the FantasyDraftHelp.com insider and our preview of the 2017 NBA Draft, the best one since the legendary class of 03. Normally we get a crop like this every few years, with 1996, 1992, 1984, and 1979 being the last few on this level. But we've had to wait a long time for a group of players that's poised to carry the NBA through the 2020s. Here are the top 5 angles to this big event. Number 5, this draft may cement Brooklyn as having made the worst trade in NBA history. By having acquired Boston's Big Three from the 2008 championship team years after their sell-by date, the singularly awful Nets are poised to suffer the ultimate insult to injury by watching the Celtics leverage that trade to take the consensus best player in this historically great draft, combo guard Markelle Fultz of Washington, whose game is very comparable to James Harden. Meanwhile, Brooklyn is left twiddling their thumbs, remaining putrid. Good times. Number 4, Kentucky is a top team, but not the slam dunk number 1 that it has often been in the John Calipari era. Yes, it is the only school with 2 players worthy of top 5 selection, point guard De'Aaron Fox and shooting guard Malik Monk, and center/power forward Bam Adebayo could sneak into the lottery, but that's about it in terms of huge impact. From there, you've got Duke, with small forward Jason Tatum as a lock for the top 10 and a possibility for the top 5, and then power forward/center Harry Giles is a possibility for the lottery, and shooting guard Luke Kennard likely for the top 20. And they're the only 2 schools making that big of a splash, with the rest of the top talent distributed among many perennial powers. Think back to the Final Four, which didn't feature a single player with probable lottery status. Had more huge talents been concentrated among less top teams, there's no way that could have happened. Number 3, point guard is the marquee position, but there are top talents at other spots. We already mentioned Monk and Tatum as possible top 5 and certain top 10 talents, and Adebayo and Giles possible for the lottery. Beyond that, Kansas swingman Josh Jackson and Florida State small/power forward Jonathan Isaac right up there with Monk and Tatum. Arizona power forward Lauri Markkanen is very probable for the top 10. Then you have Louisville shooting guard Donovan Mitchell, North Carolina small forward Justin Jackson, UCLA power forward TJ Leaf, and centers Zach Collins of Gonzaga, Jared Allen of Texas, Justin Patton of Creighton, and John Collins of Wake Forest, all likely to go in the teens. In almost any other year, most if not all of these players would have gone much higher, so even many playoff teams can look forward to receiving help from the draft next year. Number 2, yes, point guard is the crown jewel. This group could very well end up being the best of all time at one position when it's all said and done, especially if you count Markelle Fultz as playing the point, which seems a very reasonable assumption. Fultz should definitely go first, and UCLA's Lonzo Ball should be a lock for number 2, if his old man's liability of a pie hole doesn't get in the way. More about that in a minute. Kentucky's De'Aaron Fox actually outshined Ball in the Sweet 16 and is an elite talent himself. North Carolina State star Dennis Smith gets less publicity than the first 3 guys mentioned, but is a big-time ball handler, shooter, and distributor. French point guard Frank Ntilikina is a wild card, likely to go behind these others based on the amount of tape available, but still likely top 10 bound based on upside. If we remember the class of 2017 the way that it seems that we might, the fellas running the point are likely to account for a strong majority of the reason why. Number 1, that wacky Lamar Ball. Unfortunately, the NBA is on occasion a style over substance league, and that's how pageant mom on steroids Lamar Ball has managed to insert himself as the preeminent story of this year's proceedings, unfortunately overshadowing several great talents, not least of which his own son. Granted, Lonzo's shot needs some work, but 6'6" ball handlers like him don't grow on trees. The hometown Lakers at number 2 seem like a great fit for the young man, especially since he could learn from the greatest tall point guard of all time, Magic Johnson. And in the end, it still seems likely that the draft will play out according to script, with this young dynamo looking to reinvent Showtime for the 21st century. All that stands in the way, it seems, are the look-at-me antics of his needy father. But even Lamar Ball can't rain on the parade of this great draft class, one that we'll be eagerly following here at FDH. Thank you for tuning in to this mini-episode of the FDH Lounge.
As we bring the show to a close, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, all Clear Channel affiliates, TNT, TBS, USA, UPN, Deadspin.com, YouTube.com, YTMND.com, MySpace.com, various blogs, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, IamBoard.com, Billboard.com, Google.com, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Classic, NBA TV, NFL Network, Sports Time Ohio, Athlon Magazine, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, The Boomerang Channel, QVC, BET, The Spice Channel, Steno Notebooks, Manwich, Papermate Office Supplies, waitresses, strippers, bartenders, garbage men, janitors, microwave popcorn, the writers of The Office, Scrubs, Entourage, My Name is Earl, Oz, Metalocalypse and the Boondocks, Aquafina, and the periodic table of elements.